left off on the mission Over the Top in the Through Mud and Blood campaign. This is the Tank Squadron 1. In the last video, I did the little introduction to Battlefield 1 level, so just gonna go ahead and jump right back into this. It is late in the war. As winter draws in, the Germans fortify their lines and dare the enemy to come to them. Waves of infantry die crashing against German concrete. The maps do not change. Heavily armed and well protected, the British Mark V tank. Okay, I guess we're not reading the rest of that. It's on there. You guys can pause it if you want to read the rest of it. On October 17th, British forces prepare for a mass assault on the town of Cambrai. With tank support, Allied command believes breakthrough is certainty. Again, I could not read that faster and then it went away, so just pause it if you want to read it. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys hear this little cutscene right here, so... Again, I just love how good this game looks.
Sir. Townsend. Come on, you miss all the fun.
Edwards. Fire!
Been looking at your papers.
Don't worry about me, sir. I'm ready to do my bit for king and country.
Listen, son, you find forward and reverse when you're told you'll do alright for me. Grab those, would you? Come and meet Big Bess. Woman of your dreams.
I think aside from this campaign, this is probably my favorite one in the game. Aside from the one where you fight as the Australian. They put so much detail on here.
Don't swear. She does not like it when you swear.
Bloody hell.
Mind your business, Atlantis. Listen, don't worry. She'll look after you, okay?
Alright, boys. This is the big one. Our orders are to punch through the German line, destroying artillery positions as we go.
Yes, sir. And if you've seen any of the Battle Buddy episodes,
We'll advance on the French town of Cambrai.
you'll know I love playing
Where I have been
as a
assured
tank driver.
wine, women, and song. So you should enjoy that.
My man is one.
Jesus. Are we in safe hands or what, boys?
All right, my man.
Trust me, lad. You're in safe hands, alright?
Take care of each other. Big Bess will take care of you.
May the Lord have mercy on our souls.
We'll get through this together, right, Edwards?
Right, sir.
Full ahead, driver!
Full ahead. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I'll do the entire Mud and Blood campaign in this episode, but like I said, I will be doing the entirety of the Battlefield 1 campaign, and I'll probably be doing it very quickly because this is one of my favorite games that are out right now. I know it came out last November, but it's by far one of my favorites.
Pluck every feather off that damn. Easy there.
EA and DICE just do an amazing job on making Battlefield games.
Yes. Starting to get the hang of it. What'd you do back home? Drove. A car. I was a chauffeur.
Not to mention, I'm playing this on a 4K TV, and it is just
All stop.
gorgeous on here.
Infantry will go in the first whistle. Then we follow. Heavens above. You ever seen anything like this? I have. I'm sorry to say. Listen. We're gonna come
I can only imagine
that windmill.
being a soldier back in the day and just being in a situation like this. Like, Warfare now today is just more advanced than anything. Back then, it was brutal. Like, entire areas got shelled and large warfare, like massive battlegrounds. And I wouldn't want to imagine what that would be like with today's technology. The battles would be brutal, but they would be fast. I commend every soldier that's in the military that has to go through anything like this. It is incredible. And also extremely terrifying.
Field gun! Move and get a clear shot of those field guns! Appreciate not being a target, new boy!
Oh boy.
Look where that shot came from, and let them have it!
Alright. Oh,
We can keep them moving!
gotta remember,
Field gun! Go! Go!
field guns are very bad for me.
Hey, Fitz, you see that one?
Move forward.
Hold position here!
One thing I do wish, though, is that these campaigns were multiplayer, because, like, especially for Battlefield 1, like, I know there's not really huge battles on here, but, like, it'd be great to have some kind of, like, survival mode, too. That's something I've always wished Battlefield could do. And they did it slightly with Battlefront, which I was really happy about. I've thought about doing videos on that as well, but there's not really a whole lot to do with it. There's just the survival mode, and there's not really, you know, there's no campaign to the first one. I might do a few on it, because I used to play a lot of Battlefront, and, well, the newer one. The older ones I played for days and days at a time. Like, those were a pinnacle for shooters. Like, I know they didn't define them, but they did amazing with what they had at the time. And it's one thing that makes me really miss LucasArts games, at least. All the games that they did, like, I don't know if any of you have ever played the Empire War series, but it was a strategy game based around Star Wars, and it was really good. Like, it came out, I think, 2006 or somewhere between there and 2006 or 8. Not entirely sure. It's been a while. I know it's been out for more than 10 years. But it was just an amazing game, to say the least. And not only that, but there was Republic Commando, the old Revenge of the Sith game that was based off the movie, and there was the old Jedi Starfighter, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. And if you know me, I absolutely love Star Wars. Like, it is by far one of my favorite things. And I'm really looking forward to The Last Jedi coming out later this year, and what the story's going to entitle. Like, I know some people didn't really like The Force Awakens, and I understand, like, there are some comparable things in it to older movies, like how they kind of took some ideas from the older ones, especially the base, like Starkiller base and everything. But it's still, like, it just still made me happy that, you know, they're still focusing on it. And Disney's, so, like, when they first took over, I was really worried about it, but they definitely have given me hope for Star Wars. Like, I'm glad they didn't tone down, you know, too much when it came to, like, the fights and all that. And I hope they keep it that way. Like, I can understand making some things, you know, for the younger audiences and whatnot, but, you know, for us older fans and stuff, don't take away all of the amazing things that were about the originals and all that. And also, I think Vicereal, I think it is, that's doing a open world or something Star Wars game. I don't know what the release date or anything on that is, but that's one of the ones I've been trying to keep up with for as little information that there is right now. But I'm really looking forward to that as well. Coming back to Battlefield though, like, I'm really curious what their next game's going to be. I've been hoping for another Bad Company game, which, if it says anything about how they've gone about Battlefield the last few years, they usually don't do the next direct sequel. Well, not direct sequel, but you know, how Battlefield 3 then Battlefield 4 came out like a couple years later. You know, there won't be a new Battlefield this year per se. I mean, if there is, it won't be Battlefield 6 or whatever they call it at this point. But I'm also looking forward to what they do with it. Because like I said in the last video, I'm really hoping they do one around World War II. And I know Call of Duty's doing that this year, but they've done it before, and there's a lot of games like it. But it is just one of my favorite points in history, and seeing all the battles and stuff. There's a strategy game on PC called Company of Heroes that's really popular on Steam, and it's probably one of the best World War II strategy games I've ever seen, honestly. Oh, I got a tank on me. Come on. I hate how you have to reload one shell at a time in the campaign. Because in the multiplayer, you can continuously, well, you get like multiple shells that you can fire. But you don't get that in the campaign. You actually have to reload shell by shell, which I suppose is more realistic in a sort of way, but I don't know. I don't know the whole tech stuff side of how these things worked in the day, so correct me if I'm wrong. I can only imagine being in this kind of situation. Just being on the battlefield with a wrench in the middle of warfare, gunshots flying by and tanks all around, explosions, and you gotta sit there and fix a tank. Like, I can only imagine the nerve-wracking that's going on with this guy. Like, it's just a whole lot of something I myself could not do, but I commend the ones that do it and have done it. Like, that is an incredible thing. GG, mate. The shot went right through the fucking wall and hit me. I mean, it would have made more sense if, you know, it actually blew up the wall and kind of, like, you know, came through and hit me, but it just glitched right through. I'm gonna... I know there's a few artillery, or not artillery guns, field guns over here, so I've got to be careful. Yeah, there was already two of them just around that one corner. I gotta... cluster grenade! I was gonna say, is that grenade gonna blow up? It's just kind of sitting there menacingly. The guns are really hard to shoot enemies that are close to the tank. I wish I could go in first person with this, because that's what I'm used to online. Like, I'll go third person if there's, like, a lot of enemies nearby, but I don't usually stay third person when shooting enemies. Like, it's a lot easier to aim the gun and stuff, and you can slightly zoom, so there's not a whole lot, you know, making it more like a... You see how the reticle is, and there's a lot more spread, and... I didn't even see that artillery gun. And also, I saw in one of the new updates that they did for this, I think it was the May server update or something like that, that they made it where the tanks, at least the main cannon, is a lot harder to hit infantry with, which I'm actually kind of glad about, because, you know, like realistically, you know, a tank would completely obliterate you if they shot a round at you, but in the game, you know, it's really easy to fire these guns long range, and getting blasted one by one from across the map and all that is just, it's terrifying. And it's also, like, I always call bullshit and all that, but I know, you know, it's a tank round, it should kill me. It's just the heat of the moment. You're sitting there playing a game, and next thing you know, a tank shell comes out of nowhere and just blasts you. I think they increase the timer on the cluster grenades, because they don't appear to be exploding as quickly as they normally do, unless it's different in the campaign, or they might have changed it earlier on in the multiplayer to where they exploded shorter. I don't know, or had a shorter fuse on them. I might have missed something. I've been playing this since the pre-release week and the beta, and the beta, oh my god, the beta was amazing. Like, you know, there was the bugs, and it still had its fair share of bugs when it came out, but a lot of things people don't realize is these games take a long time and so much attention to detail that once they get released, you know, it's not going to be 100%. Like, I mean, some games have it worse than others, and I get that. You know, there's some things that go unnoticed, and that's understandable. I mean, it kind of sucks when you go to play it and, you know, something happens and gets you killed because, say, something glitches through the wall, or players are able to get into a wall and shoot you through it. Like, you know, it sucks having that happen to you, but sometimes it happens. Like, the games, like I said, just aren't going to be 100% when they come out. And it takes time to work on them. It's just like any good thing. Like, you just got to take time and patience with it. And you got to give these companies credits. Like, there's an entire team working on it, and you know, they're dedicated to making these games. And if it's got a few flaws, like, you know, the money that goes into these things, and the time and stress and the marketing and just all that, like, you know, a few bugs is an acceptable loss compared to, you know, not even getting the game at all, and, you know, having to wait for it to get a little bit of polishing done to it after it's out. There's that. Oh, there's a couple AT guns. Oh, I can actually zoom in. Okay. I forgot you can actually zoom in the campaign without being in first person. Alright, well that helps. It helps tremendously. I can actually hit things a little bit further range. That's another field gun over there. Oh, a little bit short. There we go. Our field gun up there. Direct hit. So yeah, I think I'm going to do each part of the campaigns in their own individual episode. Because, they're actually kind of long. Like, they're not short missions, and I like that. Like, that's a good thing. I'm happy that you know, the missions aren't short and quick and
I'll get down.
all that good stuff. Actually, no, that's horrible stuff. I don't like short missions. I like long missions. I like being thrown into the battle. Now, there's one thing of it being a short mission and a long mission, and then an excruciatingly long mission. Like, there's one thing to have a decently length mission compared to spending 2 hours on a single level. Like, unless it's like an RPG or something, then that's an acceptable case because it's an RPG. They're known for long gameplay hours and stuff, but for a shooter, I think, you know, good 30-minute to an hour missions are a decent time.
Infantry, let's calm down. Yes, that will shut them up.
And if you'll notice, when I go to fight other tanks, like, I know most people probably won't agree with me on this, and I normally don't move when I'm shooting. And the reason behind that is because if I'm sitting still, I can guarantee my shot's gonna hit. I have more time to adjust for my shot, and I'm gonna guarantee more shots are going to hit compared to moving and, you know, the opponent hitting me more often. I know when I'm sitting still, they're gonna hit me as many times as they want, but if they're trying to move to dodge my shots because I'm gonna be hitting them more, it's more of a battle of who's got the more accuracy, really. Like, the more shots you get in. And for most heavy tanks online, it takes damn near the entire
Clear the bridge of any German
ammo count. I don't know what you call it for a tank. I don't want to call it a clip or a magazine or anything like that because that's not what it is, but it takes most of the shells to kill a tank, depending on where you hit them at. So if you're going head on head with a tank, it's probably going to take all 6 rounds from a heavy tank to take out another heavy tank. So it's a matter of who gets the first shot and who gets more shots hit and where they hit. Because also, if you hit a tank on the online at an angle, like some of the tanks have like an angled top on them, they'll ricochet and it only does like 2 points of damage. And those shots, I hate when that happens, but it does happen. And it really, like, kills your damage output, but you can't always guarantee that you're gonna do 100. I know this is where this level ends, but I want to see if I can... I'm assuming I probably can't take out all these guns, because the last one's back there behind those rocks. Yeah, I don't think I can. I thought I had the shells equipped, but I didn't. Oh, why did my sensitivity go down so low so quick? Oh, it's because I'm aiming in. Alright. Well, this is the end of the level, and we're coming up on the 25-minute mark, so I'll let you guys see the cutscene. I would be absolutely terrified. Surrounded, covered in enemies, stuck in the mud, nothing you can do about it. And your only hope is that pigeon makes it to the artillery commander. And there's a chance you're not going to make it out. Like, I forgot about this little thing. But you know, just imagine, you know, how terrifying that situation could be. And, like, you know, it puts you in perspective that things that happen in our day-to-day lives really can't compare to what these people go through. And I know this is just a video game, but I'm comparing, you know, to the real life situations and what the actual soldiers went through. Because this is a story, this is a video game, but they did their best to, you know, put you in that situation for you to see from a certain perspective what people have gone through.
Orders! Sir, new fire mission. It's Tamsin, sir.
And you have to do what you gotta do.
3, 6, 4, turn.
Another thing is just being on the receiving end of those shells, seeing those massive, I believe those were howitzers, or just artillery shells in general, just incredible. And the ingenuity that went into some of the tanks and the weapons back in that day, like, they were really pushing technological limits with what they had back then. And, like, I think really that's partially what pushed our technology to be where it is now, because, like, some of the vehicles and stuff and the tanks and all that, like, they had to build them more durable and able to run longer and, you know, make it further on limited resources. And, you know, we go off of how, I don't know, I don't know really how to explain it. I'm sure you understand what I mean.
Give us a break. Give us a break. Come on. Come on, miss. Come on, stop. Stop, big miss. Stop. It stopped. Are you just gonna stand there?
And then the moment of relief. And then right back into it.
Ah, hell. There's fog up ahead. I can't see more than 20 yards.
We're pushing through. Edwards, I'll drive. You jump out and scout ahead. Don't be a hero, lad. Just do your job.
Alright, guys. I'm coming up on, I believe this is the second part of the Mud and Blood campaign. So I'm going to do this part in another video. I'm coming up on the 30-minute mark. Thank you guys for joining me today. Don't forget to check out the links in the description. It's dangerous to go alone. Check out our sponsor, FatalGrips.com. For a 10% discount, use promo code GAMECASTERS. And I'll see you guys next time.